Great question. And one of the things I first started getting into the city council race was I thought and I believed that the city was going to be able to complete the transaction of getting McCoy Stadium done. That downtown needs to be developed, but we had to be conscious of making sure that riverfront is developed. We, not the owners of that stadium. Those people do not deserve that stadium. We've invested in the city of Pawtucket. That riverfront is ours, and it's untapped potential on that riverfront. So that's one of the things I will definitely be a big vocal opponent for is development of that Apex building. As a city councilor, I can't do it alone, but that is a prime spot for a miniature Rentham Village or a Garden City type of shopping center. We have to, again, I don't do real estate, location, location, location. The only silver lining of this whole McCoy Stadium situation was that these millionaires, some people call them billionaires, saw the potential in that land also. That land is prime for redevelopment, and that riverfront needs to be developed, and that will be what can have a positive effect on the taxpayers in the city of Pawtucket, development of downtown.
Okay, cool. Jeannie Lee, your turn.
I agree. We certainly do have to develop Pawtucket and the downtown area. But in addition to that, that would obviously bring in additional income for the city and tax dollars. We also need to be conscious of rising property values for residents. As those property values are rising, taxes are increasing. And we have to, as a city, think about whether we need to have a homestead exemption in place so that residents can continue to live in the communities that they've always lived in. And I think it's the council, not just the council, you have to also work in collaboration with the administration and also with the communities to develop those areas and to see what makes sense in terms of what people want to see in those areas, what will they contribute to, what are they willing to not only just invest, but which areas are, where is the untapped potential for Pawtucket and its residents, and what makes more sense for those different areas?
Emmanuel, your turn.
I agree with a lot of what has already been set up here. I think the council needs to be a collaborative voice with both the administration, but I would also tap into the ingenuity of our business owners in the city, our residents who have ideas for what economic development means and access to economic opportunity. The downtown area is obviously a big problem. We have blighted buildings, we have vacancy, we don't have a lot going on in our downtown, but I think we need to take more of an approach of how do we develop the city citywide, not just focus on one targeted area and hope that that is our salvation to every problem we have. If we look at the model of cities, and I've said this a couple of times before, like Providence, Central Falls, Attleboro, Seekonk, they are investing in infrastructure. That infrastructure investments, the sidewalks, the streets, the drainage, all of those things are attracting businesses to just be able to plug in their building and play. We also need to be able to streamline red tape processes, like how to apply for a building permit, how to apply for a business license. That's what's going to incentivize more people moving down here. And I also think we need to invest in our workforce. Pawtucket was once a mill town. My parents worked in many of the mills in Pawtucket throughout our time here, and those jobs were decent paying jobs. You couldn't get wealthy off of them, but you could live a middle class lifestyle or a working class lifestyle, and that workforce is still here. Those jobs are gone. So how do we integrate that workforce back, or how do we integrate those folks back into the workforce, give them some tools to keep up with today's jobs that are here, and then attract more investment to our community?
Okay. All right. Rodney, the question was, what would you do as a city councilor to reduce the burden of taxes on residents?
Well, unfortunately, because of over 30 years, number one, we need to change the council, I think. I mean, we have a councilman been there 30 years, another 25 years, so obviously they didn't do something right. The only way we're going to get redevelopment and lower our taxes, we've got to start from scratch, unfortunately. And to me, to develop any city or state, the problem is we don't know, I don't know, where the tax money went. Where is it? Where did the tax dollars for schools go? where do the tax dollars for the roads go? Possibly in the general fund, I don't know. But that's the first thing we need to do. We need to make sure we can afford to pay our bills first. And I'm sure as a taxpayer, I've been here since 1957. Been paying taxes a long time. I've owned 3 properties, and I don't know where the money's going, because my roads aren't fixed, my schools are terrible. So we need to restructure our tax structure. If we got a general fund, we got to get rid of it. We got to find out what's coming in and what's going out. If we're paying all our bills on, let's say,
30
pensions, and you know, people work for the city and everything else. If all our money's going out to pays and raises and pensions and everything, we got to get back down to the basics. We need to slimline. Education is key. That's how you bring businesses and families in. You
10
need
seconds
good
left.
schools, good roads, good infrastructure. We got to start from the beginning because of the position they put us in.
All right, I'm gonna hold you off there. All right, thank you, Rodney. Melissa, your turn.
Louder, okay. Scream. So one thing that I've been going around speaking to a lot of residents that was a concern of them was the property tax, and that very recently some people have seen some increases in their property tax. And then property tax. So property tax had rise very recently. And in walking around, knocking on doors, speaking to people, I have learned that, you know, the city of Pawtucket hired a company to come in to appraise, who's been doing some appraisals that doesn't really match our city. And a lot of our people's mortgages and taxes are really going up off of the work that they're doing. So for me, for one, if we're going to be hiring companies that's going to be doing a project that's going to really affect the citizens of Pawtucket, then we need to make sure that they're being fair, and we need to be holding these people accountable. So I do agree by saying, you know, we do have things that's already going on in the city that need to get focused and need to get, you know, some help and to actually, you know, change things. And then the other thing about downtown has been a ghost town for quite a while, and I gotta respect the businesses that's been there striving and doing their thing and holding it down, but I think it's time for us to invest in our Pawtucket people, in education, making sure that there is some economic opportunities, that people from Pawtucket are starting businesses, are owning homes, that, you know, just like he said, the Port
30
Sox
seconds.
does not own downtown Pawtucket, we do. So when it comes to Apex, I want to know what you guys want to do. I'm not going to say that we need a shopping center or a soccer stadium or a mall. I want to know what you guys want so that we can push that subject forward in the city of Pawtucket. I think that often our administration is not listening to your needs and your wants, and I think that that's how we're going to, you know, solve some of our tax issues is by listening to you guys.
Thanks, Melissa.